Welcome in, everyone. Overreaction Monday. Man, oh man, do we have a lot to overreact about? I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be. I just don't know how I'm going to be today. So we're going to figure it out. But it's very few times in the past few years that Overreaction Monday or the Monday after college football that Georgia is in this spot they're in with obviously. Maybe only to this particular team, but that's the Alabama Crimson Tide, and Georgia obviously coming off a loss to Alabama this past weekend, 24-21 at home in Athens. Tough loss at home. But man, we are live tonight for Overreaction Monday. We're live right now on YouTube, Dogs Down South, Facebook, Dogs Down South. We're live on TikTok, Dogs Down South, and then 24 hours later from this podcast it'll be recorded version on Apple Podcasts, Dogs Down South, and Spotify, Dogs Down South. So happy to have you guys in tonight. I am in the chats, looking at the lives right now. I guess I got a busted link on TikTok, so looks like that one's not going to work. Welcome in. So we're going to hop straight into Overreaction Monday. I mentioned Dogs losing. Obviously, half of the world knows that the Dogs lost, and definitely the fan base is melting down. I can't lie with you. I mean, Saturday night was tough. It was tough to watch another, regular season. I don't know if you call it. I don't know. I don't know what you call it. I don't know what you call it anymore. You can look at the faults, the failures, the coaching mishaps, things of that nature. But at the end of the day, it's another Bama victory and another just feels like a curse every time we play them during the regular season. If Dog fans can get excited, usually what happens in this whole thing is we lose to Alabama and then we come back and beat them in the SEC championship or the national championship. So I'll throw that one out there. But I want to do a plug really quick. I will be this week. The podcast will be going live with former quarterback Hudson Mason from the University of Georgia, and we'll be talking all things Georgia football. We'll dive a little bit into the Alabama game. I'm sure he'll want to, and then we'll look forward to Kentucky this week. So that'll be exciting. But just to talk to Hudson about his time as quarterback at Georgia, what he's seeing from the team this year, the quarterback level, all things Georgia football. It's just going to be a fun time with Hudson. So make sure you tune in. Looking for that on Apple Podcasts, on TikTok, Spotify. Catch that later, but we will record that. It won't be live, but we'll have excerpts from that going up to where you can catch the entire episode on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Let's hop right in. Um, you know, when you look at boiling points, that's what I'm labeling these things as with the fan base this week. Is there boiling points with our fan base? Now, let me just hop out there and say this real quick. Our fan base, some of us are just a little bit overboard right now. Some of us need a little bit of a chill pill. We might need to check our medications. We might need to check just a lot of things going on in our lives. It may not be football that's triggering you, but I think the stupidity of Kirby Smart needs to go, and Kirby just can't beat Alabama. I think you need to understand a couple things. Number one, who would you like? Would you like Gus Malzahn? Like who you want right now? Because I know there's a few teams, Arkansas, maybe Florida, maybe I don't know, maybe Auburn. I don't know. Maybe there's some teams that would love Kirby Smart right now if we'd like to just drop him off because of some stupidity that the fan base is dropping in on. That's crazy. And a lot of you are like Bobo. A lot of you are like Glenn Schumann. I think we're just hurt, right? I think we're just hurt. We're disappointed. Um, and I think we need to understand that at the end of the day, as long as you have Kirby Smart as a coach, your floor is 10-2. And you can save this. You can tuck it into your save videos. At the floor is 10-2, and 10-2 is playoffs. Okay, so we're going to talk about it in our weekly show later on in the week with Fish. But your floor is 10-2. So our ceiling right now is one loss in a tough SEC. And I can tell you, there's going to be plenty of teams in the SEC that have a loss. I mean, there's plenty of teams in the SEC right now that are already underperforming and already undershowing what they were predicted to do. I mean, LSU, You look at Ole Miss. Ole Miss was picked to be in the. I mean, I picked Ole Miss to be in the middle of the pack. I think Ole Miss is doing some really great things. Lane Kiffin's doing a lot of great things with a team that everybody thought on paper was just a middle of the line team. Vanderbilt's 5-0 right now. Game day is going to be in Tuscaloosa this weekend. So I mean, let this play out. I mean, I would say you got a right to be a little agitated, and we're going to go over the whys, but chill out a little bit. I mean, Kirby Smart is still, if he's the best coach in college football right now, and I mean, his way has proven a lot of national championships, a lot of SEC championships, and he's not losing his way. Okay, he's not losing it. Like let's get that really clear right now. You have the best coach in college football, and we can just, I mean, we can stop. We can get off the Kool Aid and get on the right bandwagon. So boiling points from beginning to end, right? 8 third down conversions in the first quarter. Do we all agree that our team's motto from here on out is no matter what, we win the first quarter, right? I would, you know, I would tell you that the adjustments we made on Saturday night on defense were impeccable. They were enough to win the game. Um, I mean, you look at 8 third down conversions in the first quarter, 5 more from the second quarter to the end of the game, right? 5 third down conversions from the second quarter to the end of the game, 8 in the first quarter, right? So 9 of 13 on third down. And you look at those scenarios and you sit there and you tell yourself, why didn't we win the game, right? Defense made some really, really, really good changes to what they were doing. And this is still from a quarterback who was just unconscious. Like Ty Simpson didn't make mistakes later on. I mean, Bama didn't score in the second half. They didn't score at all in the second half. And so, when you look at the great big scheme of things, it's like we did some things better in the second half. And so, at the end of the day, I think we got to look at the defense and go, maybe our goal is 7-3, 3-0, whatever it is. If we can just win the first quarter, if we can win the first half, I think we have a team that goes undefeated the rest of the year. And when I say year, I mean playoffs, I mean national championship. I mean, we have shown ourselves to be a team that cannot get onto the field and win the first quarter and win the first half. I would venture, and if you have the number, that number of wins, if we go into halftime winning, what is the statistic? It's very, very, it's very crazy. Probably, if it's not undefeated. So, uh, um, I look at that as a huge boiling point right now. A lot of our conversation is we can't get off the field on. So improvements to be made, of course, but we made improvements throughout the game. And Ty Simpson was unconscious. He made some throws that were absolutely insane. The blitz, I would beg to say that the blitz wasn't getting there, but when it did get there, he made some just crazy good throws. Ryan Grubb called the game of his career. I mean, that guy, uh, there's no reason why. I don't know. I don't know what his deal was in the NFL, but I can tell you there was a lot of plays that I saw out there that were just brilliantly schemed. And so we'll just leave it at that. Nate Frazier. Everybody has questions about Nate Frazier. I don't think Kirby. I mean, I think Kirby was a little worried. You look at a game, you look at a stage like that, and you go, he's got to be able to hold on to the football. I think Kirby obviously has seen some stuff in the past few weeks that maybe it's more than just that fumble, right? We've seen Nate cough the ball up in a couple of games earlier in the year. I think when you look at it, I think the biggest thing Kirby's all about is ball security and turnovers, right? Gunnar Stockton still hasn't turned the ball over yet. The only time we turned the ball over is when we handed it off. The ball did get punched out, but you got to wonder, right? Does that do anything for Nate Frazier, right? So is it more what Kirby said was it was more about the fact that Chauncey Bowens was good for 10 yards of carry. It was more about the fact that McCray was an absolute bully when we needed anything less than 5 yards. Dwight Phillips minimal touches. We called Gunner's number in a lot of running situations, but he had just popped a 30-yard run, I think. And so, you look at this guy as a starter and you go, I mean, you saw Alabama go to Ryan Williams and he drops the ball early and they start to bring out all of this stuff about, you know, about Ryan Williams and how this has been his kind of sophomore blues year and how he went to some people, over the summer and did some stuff and he's just having one of those years. It's a little bit tougher than his freshman year. But what you consistently saw Ryan Grubb do was go back to Ryan Williams, and he was a difference maker throughout the game. Maybe not the way you thought Ryan Williams would be the difference maker and catching those balls, 40, 50 yards. So we didn't let any explosives happen, but I would beg to differ that when there's holes in the bucket, you can get as much water that feels like flood water as it is when you just flood. When there's a 50-yard pass and it just floods, right? That's what we experienced. We experienced enough 15 to 25-yard gash plays that it just felt like it almost felt worse. It almost felt like you could explain a missed coverage assignment, but we've been talking so much about the deep ball, and then Ty Simpson just picked us apart in so many areas. So I think Nate Frazier was not about. I don't know if it was a discipline thing. I don't think it was. I just think it was a Chauncey Bowen's hot hand, and Josh McCray was getting the tough yards. We're going to bring this back up here in a second, but I think that's the answer to that question. If anybody's answering it, do we take more shots? I think I look at the passing plays in the third and fourth quarter, and I look and I go, where's the complexity in our pass plays in the first and second quarter? I feel like once again we want to get out and establish the run. We weren't we were not very. I mean, we received the ball. I'm sure that was we lost the coin flip. We received the football. I mean, three of the most driest plays I've ever seen, first, second, third down, and you punt it, and you just knew after about the first 5 or 6 plays Alabama ran, you were like, man, here we go. They're sucking the oxygen out of the stadium right now. And they had a big drive that they scored off of. And then it just feels like unlike Tennessee, we couldn't really answer. We were trying to get ourselves together. But I think what happens in there, I think we're so scripted in the first quarter. I just think we don't. I just think we have the script. It's like we go in and we did our homework, and by George, we're going to turn in our assignment. We're gonna, but sometimes like when you're getting ready to turn your homework in, I don't mean to go off on a weird tangent here, but and then somebody looks at you and goes, "Hey, just so you know, like you didn't have to do all that in the homework. Like you could have just did this, and this," and you go, "Well, I can just erase that now and do it now, and I'm good, right?" Yeah, easy, very simple corrections. You turn it in, you're good. When you step on the field and Gunner steps behind center, even though there's a game plan, I I, I don't know if I would ever go back. We wouldn't know as fans if we would go, man, if we just stuck to the game plan, we'd have been fine. Coaches may know that. But when I look at it, I'm just like, I would have been more happy if we took 3 deep shots on first, second, and third down and give them the ball before we go, all right, we ran the ball one time. We threw a tunnel screen one time. And on third down, we miss a post that I felt like was in a double coverage, almost to a pick. I just felt like it was just, I felt like 50-50 balls and more explosive run plays to get off to to get off to a fast start is what needed to be called. I just don't think we come out with that mindset. I don't think we come out with a killer mindset. Whatever we're doing in the second half to get these guys ready, I want to hear stories about how these leaders are stepping up and really talking to the team about intensity and getting on these teams across from them in the first quarter. I'm so sick and tired of hearing about how we went in and the leaders stepped up and they talked to the players in the third, fourth quarter. Well, it's over then. It's over. You gave Alabama everything they needed. They didn't even need to take the field offensively in the second half because they scored everything they needed. So that's frustrating. That's frustrating. That's what the fans are thinking. They're like, you mean to tell me if I told you at halftime, if I would have predicted the future and told you it's 24-14 right now, Georgia's not going to allow any more points. I think if you're on any betting app right now and you go, what are you taking on that? Are you taking Georgia or are you taking Alabama? Georgia's not going to allow any more points. I'm taking Georgia. I'm thinking Georgia. Georgia gets 10. Georgia gets 13. Right? No, we don't. And so I just find that really hard to believe that we can continue to just blame the defense on a lot of this stuff. I mean, yeah, they couldn't get off the field on third down. I get it, but it was not that sealed the deal and it sealed the fate for the team. I think more shots. I think our offense just being a little less predictable. I'm not calling I mean, I'm not saying Bobo didn't call great plays. Did he have a couple of head scratchers? Maybe. But there was no head scratcher when Taylor dropped the ball. I mean, I'm just gonna put that out there. Momentum. So here's the story. Here's the storyline. We shank the field goal. We shank it into. I mean, Alabama does. They shank it into the corner of the end zone. Right. We took advantage. We drive the field. We score. McCray gets in. He absolutely. I'm going to go back to that goal line play. Go back and watch the goal line play where McCray carries half of the team into the end zone, and then tell me that you wouldn't have wanted the ball in his hands on 4th and 1 or 3rd and 4. That's just me. Okay, that's just me. We took advantage of that. Here's the big elephant in the room. I said it on my TikTok page on Saturday night late. Why do you go for it there on 4th down? Right? Um Taylor was our dagger. Okay. Talon Taylor was our dagger. He dropped the ball. Okay. It's over with. It's done. Can't get it back. Okay. We turn around. We run it. We get to 3rd and 4. Our mind is made up on 3rd and 4. Mind you, Cash is in the game on 3rd and 4, which I thought, and I can go back and watch, but I thought Cash Jones was like a 3rd and 5, 6 and above, right? That's just me. 3rd, 5, 6. We're in 7 long, parts where we're going to throw to the running back out of the backfield. Best receiving running back we have. Okay, receiving running back we have. 3rd down back. Okay, he's in the game on 3rd and 4, and he's in the game on 4th and 1. I don't understand. Why is the personnel that's in there right there, right? You go for it on 3rd and 4 with a run. Gunner gets to what we think is the line to gain. Kirby says in his presser today that if they were going to catch it, they would have buzzed down. I don't know, man. It was loud, a lot going on. They were hurrying as much to spot the ball as they were to run the play. As soon as they spotted it and ran out of there, we were saying, "Hut, like we wanted to go quick." It was not even about just not letting them substitute. It was about catching them off guard. We didn't, by the way. But not only did we not catch them off guard, we didn't give them an opportunity to really, really look at that play. I mean, I don't think you get a better look. I mean, yeah, if we block it right, Cash is in the end zone. But man, that's betting the house on a lot going on, right? I mean, statistically, you have things and checks that you look at, but also like as a poker player, sometimes you got your own eyes. You can see what's going on. You can see what's happening around you. And I just don't know if we thought about those things. And I don't know if I have one thing about Kirby, and I don't ever have much about Kirby. I'm ride or die with Kirby. You can't come at me about Kirby. You can't. So if you're coming at me in the chat about Kirby, good luck. But I just look at that as an executive decision and go, we've allowed 0 points to Alabama in 2 quarters. Get the points and live to play another day, right? Um, and if and I heard it said that Kirby's been all about players over process and players over plays, right? For the love of God, get the right personnel in the game then, right? Like I get it. Taylor, I get it. There's some guys out there in rotation, and maybe we know less than the coaching staff does. But right now I know that aces in their places is something that you want in the game when it's coming down to the wire against a team that you haven't been able to beat at home. Better yet, anywhere during the regular season in a long, long time. I gotta have my best bet, right? Even if I'm Gunner Stockton right there, I'm gonna go out on a limb and go, we're going to Cash, 4th and 1. He's not our best running back. What happens? I mean, do we have a second chance if he gets hit early? McCray was hit behind the line twice, and good Lord, he made something out of nothing. I will probably sweat about that call for the remainder of the year. Um, So there was also mention of did Gunner get the first. I said something about that. Um, and then personnel, I said something about this, but I just think we will do ourselves a lot of favors if we look and go, we're 5 games into the year. Who's playing the best right now, right? Who's catching the ball? I mean, I understand we have to get spelled. I understand we have to get rest, right? A playoff here or there, but Quintavious Johnson played 57 plays on Saturday. Justin Williams played 18 or 19. Justin Williams is one of our most exciting young linebackers we have, right? Chris Cole is in there so much on first and second down. We don't have any wind in us on third down for him to get to the quarterback. We got to look at personnel and go, like, do we feel good about the personnel we're putting on the field, right? Running back wise. We have a great running back by committee. Chauncey Bowens was averaging 10 yards when you breathed his direction. If I'm looking, we're talking about bet numbers. I'm looking at my roster and going, I got to get 1 yard, and I got a guy that's averaging 10 a carry right now. So I'm good for 9 at least on this carry, 10 on this carry alone, right? I don't know. So those are the boiling points, obviously, right? So why, right? Everybody's going to want to know why on overreaction Monday. Why does Georgia lose this game? We talked about the boiling points. Plain and simple, 3 things, right? Slow starts on offense. Sputtered early. O-line struggled to protect in some avenues. Running game was effective, but we struggled to stay balanced. I feel like we missed some throws to stay balanced. Uh, and I feel like sometimes we can also get a little hung up in what we're trying to do in the run game. I think there's some slowly progressed running plays that we tend to run that we just struggled with sometimes. We really did. Third down efficiency. I mean, we said it. It's the elephant in the room. Georgia's inability to convert key third downs was a killer, right? And when I say convert, not on offense, defense, obviously. Get off the field. We say it all the time. I think if I'm standing in front of my TV and half of you fans are saying it with me, you're like, we got to get off the field, right? Get off the field. It's just what we say. Get off the field. We couldn't do it. And then lastly is explosive plays. I mean, they weren't allowed as far as stats on a stat sheet, but the 15 to 25-yard gashes, right? I look at it as, you can cut me one big time and I'm done, or if you just continue chipping away at me, I'm still done. And that's what they did. He was absolute. Ty Simpson was electric in 15 to 25-yard routes. Third downs are not even part of it. I mean, I just think he made some throws that were just like, wow, wow throws. And we did what I mean. I mentioned 2 things. I mentioned making them run the football, which I felt like we played the run very well. That was a positive. 2 positives from this game are we ran the ball really well. I mean, if you told me we put 260 plus yards on Alabama in the rushing game, I'd tell you it wasn't even a game. And if I told you that we held them to less than 150, it wouldn't be a game. So that's tough to see. But you know, chunk plays downfield, flip the momentum as far as on third down, and I think we limited them, but I think we limited them too late. This offense we have this year is not built around having to recover from 17-point first halves. Like we're just not 17, 17, 21-point first halves are going to hurt Georgia the rest of the year. And so I think the motto for the rest of the year needs to be win the first quarter. Win the first quarter. We're not worried about the second. We're not worried about the third. We're not even worried about the coin flip. What does the coin flip say about the first quarter? I don't care about the third quarter. What does the coin flip say about the first quarter? Why Alabama won, right? If we're overreacting, quarterback play. Ty Simpson was electric. Might have presented himself into the Heisman viewers. Um, there wasn't a throw on the field he didn't make. You got to clap it out for him. You got to give him some credit, right? Um, we got to give him some credit. Like quarterback play was incredible, physical on the defensive front. At times, you just still wonder, are we beating anybody? Is there one defensive lineman or linebacker that can beat the guy in front of them? It's hard. It's hard to look at sometimes, and you're not used to that at the University of Georgia. Do I think that is something that will continue? No. I think that these teams need to be grateful that they're getting Georgia early. I think Alabama should be grateful that they're getting Georgia early. I think they could get them later on in the year, and this could be a way different scenario, especially because technically we're in that game to win it. I think if you kick the field goal and you make Alabama actually have to do something, I think it comes down to if they have to kick a field goal, then we're in a spot where we're field goal or win at a later point in the game, right? Not with the game on the line to lose. I mean, we're sitting there, and I don't know if you notice this, but 10 minutes to go in the game, Kirby's punting the ball, going, or excuse me, Kirby's going for it, going, all right, um, we'll just figure this out, later on. And they've held drives together all night long. I think it's we got to get points, right? And then at least if they run the ball down our throats or they drive the ball down our throats, it's like, well, kick a field goal, they win. But we were already down the field goal, so I guess it's one or the other. But instead, we're playing from behind the last 10 minutes, and they could control the clock. They could control the game. They were up then, and you know what happens when they're up. They would have done the same thing if Kirby would have been doing the same thing if he was up three. He would have been just grinding it out, methodically trying to figure out what plays to run to continue to let that clock run to continue to win the game. And then special teams execution. I think field position was a huge battle. I think turnovers played a key role. They only got three off the turnover, but guess what? It was the 3 points that beat us. You could say these all day long, but I think when you look at execution of special teams, the missed field goal, getting Georgia back into it, I think you look at some scenarios where that was crucial. And I do think that special teams and the turnover battle played an issue because it was tight. It could have been a touchdown, could have been 3 points. It was 3 points. It was 3 points that enabled, Alabama to win, but is it already tied right there on fourth down? Like, how does that change the scenario? If we don't turn the ball over on our own end of the field, we never know that. And then, excuse me, moving forward, let me get a swallow of water. Moving forward, I think the positives from Georgia, right? The positives is the resiliency. I still think Georgia didn't fold. I think down double digits against an Alabama team that, let's just get this right. I think we worked ourselves up with this and we listened to this is not the Alabama team of old. This is not the Nick Saban Alabama team. This is not, you're right. But I still, at the beginning of the year, had Alabama as the second best team in the SEC. I had them going to play Georgia in the SEC championship, and I had them making the college football playoff and being a top tier team. And guess what? They lost one game, and everything about that was written off. Okay. I think the same thing could be said for Georgia right here, right? Alabama loses the first game. They knock two more games out, and then they get a big one and they win it. I don't know if you look at the schedule, but it kind of looks like that for Georgia. It looks like we have some games that if we do what we're supposed to, they're very winnable games, obviously against Kentucky and Auburn. And then we've created a couple matchups at home that we can be resilient about the efforts that happen in Alabama and a little payback for Ole Miss. Then we get Texas coming in, and Texas. I look at Texas like I look at Alabama. You're not going to pull those curtains in front of me. You're not going to tell me Arch Manning is terrible. You're not going to tell me that Texas is the 12th best team in the SEC right now. We will see this weekend when they play Florida, but I just think you still have a good Texas team out there. But everything is. I just told you the floor for Georgia. The floor for Georgia is still 10-2. If Kirby Smart is the coach at Georgia, the floor is 10-2. He said it in his presser today. There's some hurt players. There's some hurt players, and hurt players are going to come out and they're going to show what the University of Georgia means to them, and they're going to look at what they're doing. And these are young kids. We're still a young football team. It's a good, like I said earlier, it's a good chance that the team you're looking at right now, with 3 or 4 more games under their belt, is sitting against Ole Miss and Texas and some of these teams towards the end of the year in a different scenario, maybe a little bit healthier. I still think Gunnar Stockton hasn't had a bad game yet. I mean, 13 of 20 for what is it, 146? I mean, we ran the ball for over 260 yards. He didn't have to have an incredible Ty Simpson type game. Ty Simpson had to have that game because Georgia was, in my opinion, keeping the run pretty under bay. I really think that. So resiliency from this team. This team's still young. There's a lot to play for, and I think this team comes out and I think they're resilient. I think if they have it in their mind, win the first quarter, win the first half. If they have the third and fourth quarter mentality in the first and second quarter, this is going to be a different second half of the season. Offensive identity is emerging. Second half adjustments showed the dogs can spread people out. We can run the football effectively. If we build on that, offense can continue to click. You know, I've always said I'm less worried about our defense growing up than our offense. Uh, Two stats to tell you: we're running the ball 100% more effective than we did last year, and we're getting off the field on third down. We're running the ball and we're stopping the run better than we did last year. And I told you, keys to this year into getting back to the promised land of college football, which is the Natty, is stopping the run and being able to run the football. Stopping the run, being able to run the football. I think that's huge. We've created some new things that we obviously got to get fixed. But I think in this era of what Kirby Smart's able to do in this defensive staff, they can get that fixed. Defense has championship DNA. Even when mistakes happen, Georgia held Alabama in check late. They bend but don't break. Mentality is a weapon. I mean, you got to look at these guys and go, if we just clean up the process, clean up the mishaps, we're going to be fine. Playoff path still alive. Everything's still intact. Kirby was right. This SEC is just going to continue to beat each other up. I mean, you got battles happening. You got Alabama, meeting up with Vanderbilt this coming up weekend. Game day is there. I mean, you got so many games. You got Florida and Texas the weekend after that. You got Oklahoma and Texas. You got Alabama and Tennessee right around the corner. This SEC conference is going to continue to beat up on each other. It's what team to take the blows and get back up. And if Georgia took its per se knockout punch on Saturday, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe you caught Georgia and you stunned them a little bit, but I don't think there's anything that's not within Georgia's reach still this year. I think every SEC team is going to have a loss this year, and I think that there's some that's going to have two, and I think they're still going to make the playoff because at the end of the day, the SEC is the best conference in college football. So closing tonight, yes, Georgia lost to Alabama, and yes, it stings. Sky's not falling in Athens, even though some people would say it. They're still calling for Stacy Searles. They're still calling for Mike Bobo. Mike Bobo didn't drop the ball on the 5-yard line. He didn't drop it. He didn't do it. He didn't fumble the football, and he did not block, the edge on 4th and 1. Even though Cash Jones has the ball, the personnel's wrong, but he didn't miss the block that could have busted the touchdown. Yeah, those are factors, but the play calling was not the problem. So stop going back to your good old faithful of blame game, right? Kirby executive decision. I just would have done it different, but I'm not Kirby Smart, right? He gets $13 million a year to make that decision, right? I can tell you right this: if you get through the rest of the year and they go undefeated and they win the national championship, SEC championship, you're looking back at that going, man, I'm glad I have Kirby Smart as my coach, and it kind of shuts you up and it kind of humbles you. Lessons to learn, positives to build on. If anything, this game was a wake up call, in my opinion. For Alabama, it was a statement. For Georgia, it was a reminder. It was to get where you want to go. You still got to go through the Tide. You still got to go through Alabama, and I think Georgia does get another shot at Alabama this year. That's just me. But this season is far from over, and so get ready for Kentucky. Our weekly show is right upon us on Tuesday night, and we're going to preview Kentucky, and it's a new week. We're going to get ready for Kentucky. At the end of the day, overreaction Monday. We're hurt. It'll take some of these fans a long time to get over this, right? The good news is we get to play Saturday at 12 noon, and we have the opportunity to watch these kids bounce back, and I think they will. As we get ready to be home against Kentucky, we go on the road against Auburn. We have no time to continue to ponder what happened at Alabama. We know. I just went over it with you, fans. Right? So you can do two things. You can you can put your TV on NCIS 12 o'clock on Saturday, or your favorite Netflix show, or you can root the dogs on. You can go to the state fair, or you can head down to Athens, up to Athens, wherever you're at, and enjoy God's country and watching Georgia go head to head with Kentucky. And then I'll be there for Georgia Auburn. So we're going to go live a lot that week, and then we have Ole Miss coming to town. But we're not looking at anybody but Kentucky this week. So, Dog Nation, we're hurting, but we're going to be okay. Okay, I can assure you of that. Make sure you tune in later on in the week. I'm so excited to be hanging out with Hudson Mason this week. We're gonna have that one up. I'll make sure and post links. I'll have clips from it. It's going to be exciting, and the normal live show will be going Tuesday night this week for the preview for Kentucky. For myself, and all of Dog Nation were hurt, but but this too shall pass. Okay. We'll put the pads on. The guys have already moved on. They're already getting ready for Kentucky. Okay. We continue to look back, then yesterday becomes today. And we can't let that happen. So you guys have a great week. Looking forward to the other shows this week. And as always, on Dogs Down South, no matter who we lose to, and no matter what happens on Saturdays, we still yell, go dogs.